Welcome to another episode of Kurdistan This Week, where we bring you the latest in the Kurdistan region from NRT Studios in Somani. The Kurdistan region is expected to reach 12,000 coronavirus cases over the weekend as the pandemic continues to spread ahead of the Eid al-Adha holiday. As of Thursday night, 455 people have died of COVID-19, the disease caused by coronavirus infection. On Tuesday, the Kurdistan Regional Government's Ministry of Interior announced that the ban on regular travel between the governorates will remain in place for the time being, with exemptions granted by the ministry through an online application system. The airports in Somani and Erbil are expected to reopen for regular flights on August 1st. With the Eid expected to begin at the end of next week, Somani and Halabja governorates are allowing mosques to reopen on a restricted basis, although services over the holiday are likely not to be held to prevent the spread of coronavirus infection. Local and international human rights groups are disputing recent comments by Turkish officials denying and downplaying civilian deaths and injuries caused by the country's ongoing military offensive in the Kurdistan region. The Turkish Consul General in Erbil told a press conference on July 15th that the Turkish military has never targeted any civilian people during the current offensive, which began last month. Since then, however, according to tallies from the Kurdistan Regional Government and local monitors, at least 5 civilians have been killed in airstrikes, and at least 6 others have been wounded, including those who were hurt during the airstrike on Kunamasi town on June 25th. On Wednesday, Christian peacemaker teams held a press conference to refute the Turkish diplomat's claim, and earlier in the day, Human Rights Watch released a report that found that the Turkish military had failed to take adequate precautions to minimize civilian casualties. Meanwhile, Turkey continued its operations, hitting areas in northern Erbil Governorate on Tuesday and Wednesday. The airstrikes caused large wildfires that spread easily across the hot and dry mountainsides, burning agricultural fields and orchards. Public sector workers protested at the Darbandikhan Dam Directorate in response to delays in the disbursement of their salaries, saying that they would go on strike until they receive the 4 months of back pay that they are owed. The KRG is under tremendous financial pressure after a tough spring, which saw Baghdad cut off all budget transfers and global oil prices drop precipitously. In June, the federal government offered to step in and pay workers at the dams, noting that it already pays for maintenance at those facilities. The protesters called on the KRG and the federal government to sort out their dispute and said that they would not be held responsible for any problems that arise during their strike. On Sunday, the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan's General Leadership Council decided to suspend its lawmakers' participation in sessions of the Kurdistan Parliament, escalating a row with the Kurdistan Democratic Party. The parliament has met sparingly this spring and summer because of coronavirus restrictions and tensions between the two parties. It last met 3 weeks ago for its first session since early May. In response, KDP Deputy Speaker Hemin Harami said that no one party can control parliamentary affairs and issued a call for MPs to meet for a session on Sunday. Under the parliament's bylaws, Speaker Rayas Fayak of the PUK is typically responsible for summoning lawmakers. It is likely that the goal of the PUK is to precipitate a leadership-level meeting with the KDP, which has not happened since Lahur Sheikh Jengi and Bafal Talabani were elected as PUK co-presidents in February. Finally, after tourists left rubbish strewn around Zalam Source, a group of young people worked with the Halabja Water Directorate to organize a cleanup of the spring, which is an important water resource in the governorate. Streams originating at Zalam flow down the mountains, watering gardens and farms on the Sharazor Plain, and provide drinking water to Kermal Subdistrict and several other areas of Halabja. While routine cleaning is done by the owners of the tourist site, some visitors throw their garbage into the woods and along the stream, which creates hazardous pollution. The organizer called on tourists to clean up after themselves when they go on picnics. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Kurdistan This Week. If you'd like more information on these stories and others, check out our website, nrttv.com/en, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.